It's our first flop, like every time.
There's lots of rumors about the return of other characters.
I'm waiting to hear as well. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, that was a good run, and it's close to my heart, but there was a time for that.
One star's already calling it our first flop, another's still waiting on rumors, and a fan favorite just said, there was a time for that. The cast sounds unsure, the story's unclear, and the excitement rapidly fading. Marvel's next move might not be a comeback, it might be a collapse. Here's all we know. The shocking leak. The dominoes started falling after a wave of cryptic interviews, ones the studio never expected to go public. From Tom Hiddleston learning live on camera that RDJ was coming back to Jonathan Majors calling out Disney after his firing over abuse allegations. Marvel's most polished actors are turning their backs, leaking details, and burning bridges. But the most shocking moment, it came when Paul Rudd was asked about Avengers, Doomsday, and instead of the usual media-trained answer, he gave this cryptic, off-script confession.
They have my number. They know where I'm at.
Sure.
And that's all I can really, I don't know. I'm not how to put it.
That awkward pause, that nervous laugh, it wasn't just an actor being coy. It was a man who didn't want to lie. Let's rewind. It started quietly. Minor grumblings, a few reshoots here, a delay there. But behind the scenes, chaos. Marvel's upcoming projects, especially the ones with no release date, have become a graveyard of broken promises. Blade, delayed indefinitely after years of failed rewrites. Armor Wars, script issues again. Shang-Chi 2, radio silence. Even Spider-Man. Beyond the Spider-Verse, not even MCU proper, doesn't have a date anymore. But that was just the background noise. The explosion came when Marvel's own stars started dropping bombs. First, Tom Holland. Everyone knows Marvel doesn't let him see scripts because he's a walking spoiler machine. But this time, it went deeper. In an interview alongside Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom made a joke, but the meaning behind it was damning.
If I'm honest with you, I actually know nothing about this movie. I'm not allowed to read the scripts because I'm so bad at keeping secrets.
Think about that. They don't even trust their lead actor, and he's openly mocking it while the cameras are rolling. Cumberbatch tries to play along, but even he seems uncomfortable. What we're witnessing here isn't just awkward. It's a complete breakdown in trust between Marvel and its own cast. Then came Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner. What should have been a fun interview turned into something almost surreal. Renner making off-color remarks, Johansson visibly uncomfortable, and the interviewer asking wildly inappropriate questions. But what stood out most was the lack of control. No handlers, no script, just chaotic energy.
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
You're the fifth person that's asking
Well, no,
that
because
What is going on? Since when did people start asking each other in interviews about their underwear?
It's a small thing, but it spoke volumes. This isn't Marvel in its prime. This isn't the media-trained, PR-polished Disney machine. This is exhaustion, disillusionment, and fracture. And then, the final gut punch, Jonathan Majors. He was supposed to be the next Thanos, Kang the Conqueror, the linchpin of Marvel's future. Instead, he became the most public embarrassment of Phase 5. In a moment that never should have aired, Majors sat down and addressed his cancellation. Not just legally, but emotionally.
You fall down, make a mistake, and then you're in the corner for the rest of your life. Never mind your child. Never mind your livelihood.
It's raw, unfiltered, heartbreaking, and haunting. Because whether you believe him or not, Marvel bet everything on this man. And now, they've got nothing to show for it. So where does this leave us? With a cast in revolt. With untitled projects no one wants to commit to. And with a fan base that stopped believing. Marvel's next untitled Avengers movie isn't just a mystery anymore. It's a liability, a risk, a joke among its own stars. And as Paul Rudd so awkwardly reminded us, they don't even know who's coming back. Because here's the truth they won't say out loud. The Avengers are done pretending. By now, you're probably wondering, how did we get here? How did the most bankable film franchise in history become this? It's not just one mistake, it's a pattern of delays, recasts, reboots, half-baked scripts, and worst of all, actors who are now mocking the very studio that made them household names. Take Tom Hiddleston, for example, a Marvel veteran, the man behind Loki, arguably one of the most beloved characters in the MCU. Even he was blindsided. When Robert Downey Jr.'s name popped up again in connection to the upcoming Avengers projects, Hiddleston didn't even pretend to be in the loop.
And I texted Kevin Feige with just exclamation marks. And I said, RDJ, question mark, exclamation mark. I didn't know that until the rest of the world knew that.
Let that sink in. Robert Downey Jr., the face of the Infinity Saga, is reportedly returning, and his own co-stars are learning about it the same time we are. That's not just secrecy, that's dysfunction. Just look at the slate of upcoming projects with no release dates. This is no longer about storytelling. It's release window roulette, and nobody's betting big. Because right now, Marvel's calendar includes several untitled Marvel movie slots in 2028, placeholders for projects they haven't even finalized yet. In other words, they're scheduling hype for films that don't exist. And we're not speculating. Marvel insiders have confirmed this publicly.
One of them, they don't want to give away any secrets, right? Because Avengers Secret Wars is going to leave us in a place where the MCU is probably going to be very different from where it is today.
You heard that right. They're mapping out mystery movies years in advance, without scripts, without titles, and in some cases, without actors. And that brings us back to the biggest red flag of all, actors quitting. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should we say, the one fired from the room, Jonathan Majors. The man pegged to be the next universe-breaking villain was removed from Marvel after a domestic abuse scandal. The legal case, still debated, but the public perception, catastrophic. His on-camera breakdown wasn't just a reaction, it was a rebuke. He called out cancel culture. He questioned whether redemption is even possible. But above all, he reminded the world of a chilling truth. Marvel doesn't stand by its people, it drops them. And it's not just Majors. Actors like Dave Bautista and even Chris Hemsworth have openly discussed Marvel burnout. Even Paul Rudd, the most optimistic man in Hollywood, couldn't hide his uncertainty. Sure, it's funny, but beneath the humor is something serious. Marvel is afraid of its own talent, afraid they'll leak, afraid they'll criticize, afraid they'll quit. And in many cases, they already have. Behind the curtain. This was supposed to be Marvel's next endgame. Instead, it's a warning sign of how fast a global empire can crumble, from the inside out. The leaks didn't just spill details, they exposed something far more damaging. Marvel doesn't know what it's doing anymore. Let's start with the clip that shocked fans into silence. The leaked Avengers Doomsday scene, featuring a bruised, broken Captain Marvel going head-to-head with an unnamed antagonist, was meant to blow minds. What it actually did was blow holes in Marvel's once titanic reputation for storytelling.
So we finally meet. You really think you can take me on? I'm the one who saved this universe from Thanos.
The dialogue, robotic. The pacing, offbeat. The chemistry, non-existent. Fans immediately noticed something was wrong. This wasn't the confident, controlled Marvel of Endgame or Infinity War. This was Marvel on autopilot. Reddit threads like this one began blowing up, with fans pointing out reused CGI assets, inconsistent power scaling, and flat character development. One top comment read, "How did we go from I am Iron Man to you have nothing to prove like it's a student film? Ouch." But that wasn't the only problem, because right after that clip surfaced, another bomb dropped. Jared Leto is allegedly returning as Morbius. Now let's be honest, Morbius wasn't just a flop, it became a cultural meme. It was pulled from theaters and re-released by Sony, only to flop again. No other superhero film has been laughed out of relevance faster, so when fans saw the leaked Doomsday trailer and noticed Leto's silhouette, it wasn't excitement.
But among the many leaked cast members, there was one leaked clip from the trailer that revealed a character yet to be announced that people are more hyped about than anyone else. Jared Leto is coming back as Morbius.
It was utter disbelief. Twitter exploded. YouTube creators like Heavy Spoilers, Cosmic Wonder, and Emergency Awesome dropped instant reaction videos. This isn't about Jared Leto personally. It's about what his return represents. A franchise so out of ideas, it's now recycling memes and banking on irony to sell tickets. Meanwhile, Mahershala Ali, who was once hailed as Marvel's next Oscar-caliber savior, is still stuck in development hell. Blade was announced in 2019. That's right, 4 years ago. Since then, the film has cycled through multiple screenwriters, lost its director, and at one point was reportedly rewritten to focus on side characters, giving Blade just 2 lines in his own movie. Mahershala, according to multiple inside sources, nearly walked away. The studio managed to keep him in, barely, but fans noticed the film has since vanished from Marvel's official release calendar. That's not just a delay, that's a death sentence. And it's not just Blade. Armor Wars was supposed to be a gritty War Machine TV series, until it wasn't. Marvel suddenly turned it into a film, then backtracked again when the script reportedly couldn't support a full feature. Don Cheadle, now 60 years old, still hasn't shot a single scene. Source, it's chaos. Project after project is stuck in purgatory. Studios are making announcements without release dates, and release dates without completed scripts. It's like Marvel is throwing darts at a calendar, hoping something sticks. In fact, one viral clip made the rounds in April showing that Marvel currently has multiple 2028 slots labeled only Untitled Marvel Movie.
They don't want to give away any secrets, right? So they want to give themselves flexibility. All they're saying with this release, this press release and these dates is they're kind of putting a marker down.
That's not tight-lipped. That's rudderless. Even Benedict Cumberbatch tries to smooth things over, but his expression says it all. He's just trying to survive the promo cycle. And what about Paul Rudd, America's sweetheart, the ever-smiling, never-aging face of Ant-Man? When asked if the Russos had contacted him about Doomsday, he gave this strange, disjointed response.
They have my number. They know where I'm at.
Sure.
And that's all I can really, I don't know how to...
He's clearly uncomfortable, clearly uncertain, and very clearly not under a tight Marvel media gag, because that wasn't a prepared statement. That was an actor losing faith in the machine. And now, the fans are starting to feel the same. Across YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit, the MCU is now a subject of frustrated nostalgia. People remember how it used to feel. The hype for Civil War, the buzz around Infinity War, the midnight screening cheers during Endgame. But today, the most liked comment on the Doomsday Leak video reads, "I miss when Marvel felt like it mattered." Another on Reddit simply says, "They built a universe, and now they're watching it implode from a lounge chair." And the replies? Thousands of upvotes. Because everyone feels it now. The magic is gone. And maybe the most tragic part of all? Even new projects are weighed down by this decay. Characters like Shang-Chi, who received universal acclaim, are now stuck in limbo. Despite Shang-Chi grossing nearly $500 million during a pandemic, the sequel still has no movement, not even a working title. Why? Because Marvel keeps pivoting, keeps stretching, keeps betting on quantity over quality. And with each missed deadline, each recast, each delay, the MCU becomes something it never used to be. Predictable, tired, generic. So here's the brutal truth. The untitled Avengers project might not be a film at all. It might be a placeholder for hope, a concept to buy time, a signal flare meant to distract fans from the reality behind the curtain. Because what Marvel's dealing with now isn't just bad press, it's lost confidence. From the cast, from the creatives, from the audience. And when your foundation is cracked on every level, it doesn't matter how pretty the posters look. But if the Doomsday Leak and the Morbius re-entry were the opening cracks, the real fracture is what fans have started calling the empty trailer era. It's a term being thrown around in Marvel fan circles to describe the last 10-12 months of teases, promos, and leaks that all have one thing in common. No emotional core, no stakes, no real build-up, just noise. Take the leaked Doomsday trailer. While fans initially rushed to dissect it, many walked away with one reaction. So what? That's a brutal place for a franchise to be. When you leak part of your secret Avengers film and your audience's biggest takeaway is apathy, you're cooked. Let's put it in perspective. In 2018, when the Infinity War trailer dropped, YouTube reaction videos exploded. People were crying. Reddit theories were spun up within minutes. Every beat of the trailer, from Thanos' voice to Tony's fearful eyes, was dissected like scripture. But in 2024, when a villain confronts Captain Marvel in what's supposed to be a pivotal moment, flatline. And they're not wrong. The Doomsday scene includes language that sounds deep on paper, but lacks the weight Marvel used to bring. Lines like, "In the face of time, you will be forced to prove yourself," come off like AI-written wisdom. Even Captain Marvel's rebuttal, "I have nothing to prove to you," is a recycled version of her 2019 solo film line. This isn't clever. It's lazy. And worse, it feels hollow. So how did Marvel go from commanding the emotional attention of an entire generation to being background noise? The answer? Misplaced priorities. Let's revisit the Jared Leto situation, because it's bigger than just a casting choice. This was never about whether Morbius deserved a second chance. It's about what it symbolizes. Jared Leto's Morbius was one of the most mocked comic book films of the decade. It bombed twice, once in its original release, and once after a failed meme-fueled re-release. Bringing Leto back is Marvel acknowledging the meme and betting the farm on it. Think about that. A billion-dollar studio in crisis decided the best way to win back fan trust was to tap into internet irony. They're no longer trying to make good movies. They're trying to make gifs, and fans aren't laughing. Meanwhile, Marvel's actual promising leads, the ones who could carry the torch, are being completely sidelined. Even in promo settings, the discomfort bleeds through. Remember that chaotic Avengers interview with Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner?
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
You're like the fifth person that's asked.
Well, no, because
what is going on? Since when did people start asking each other in interviews about their underwear?
It was supposed to be lighthearted, but it went sideways fast. And it wasn't a one-off. You can see it in interview after interview from Phase 4 and 5. Actors fidgeting, dodging questions, even mocking the material. This isn't the polished, rehearsed Marvel PR machine of 2015. It's a mess. But the final red flag? It comes from the audience itself. When Marvel fans are fed up, they don't scream, they go quiet. Engagement metrics for Marvel trailers on YouTube have plummeted. Comments are filled with sarcastic reactions, not excitement. Fan theories used to flood the timeline. Now, no one even bothers to guess what's next. They all point to one truth. Marvel is no longer leading culture. It's reacting to it. And if this is how the studio handles its most important franchise, the fans have to wonder, what's even left worth saving? The fallout. This is where the curtain falls. Marvel isn't just losing control of the narrative, it's losing the people who built it. And they're not going quietly. They're walking away, speaking up, and in some cases, calling Marvel out by name. We're in the end game now, not of the cinematic kind, but of a creative empire crumbling under its own legacy. And the most devastating blow, it didn't come from a tweet, or a leak, or a trailer. It came from an Avenger, one of the originals, someone who helped shape the universe that changed Hollywood forever. Now pulling back the curtain and revealing the truth behind the Marvel machine. machine. Let's start with that interview, the moment that had fans dropping their jaws and executives slamming their phones on conference room tables. It came quietly, in a podcast episode, not a Comic-Con stage. A former Avenger, name withheld for now, opened up about Marvel's system, describing it not as a collaborative creative engine, but as a factory line of emotional exhaustion. You walk in, they hand you the green screen, the fake suit, the ADR list, and a smile. They don't want your ideas. They want your face. That's it. It was raw, brutal, and completely unfiltered. He went on, by the third movie, I wasn't even reading the full script. What's the point? It was already reshot before I saw it. I just waited for them to tell me what changed. This is someone who once led the box office, who signed autographs for lines stretching across convention centers. Now disillusioned, detached, done, and fans quickly figured it out. This wasn't an anonymous dig. It was someone who had nothing left to lose. But it wasn't just a vent session. He made it clear, Marvel isn't dying because of fans or critics or TikTok. It's dying because the people inside the machine no longer believe in the product. We used to rehearse. Now it's all plug and play. We talk about the arc, the themes, what it all meant. Now, you shoot 2 lines 4 different ways and hope they franken-edit it into a scene. The podcast was quickly clipped and uploaded to YouTube. Within 48 hours, it hit 10 million views. Within 72, Disney's PR team had issued a formal no comment. That silence said everything, because they knew who said it, and they knew we knew. And just as that was lighting up the fandom, another bomb dropped. Secret Wars is falling apart. That's not speculation anymore. That's confirmed by delays, rewrites, cast conflicts, and, most importantly, the complete absence of direction. Let's break it down. Secret Wars was supposed to be the new Endgame, the event film to pull everything together. But the only thing it's pulled together? Confusion. Despite its scheduled release being pushed to 2027, Marvel has no locked director, no confirmed cast, no finished script, and no clear way to explain why this event even matters. Even the actors are clueless. Paul Rudd didn't even know he was potentially in the film. Tom Holland still hasn't read a script. Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, has how broken it is. You want to know how far the rot has spread? Let's talk about the Spider-Man problem. Spider-Man is Marvel's golden goose. He saved Phase 3. His films anchor merchandise, streaming, memes, you name it. But as of this writing, there is no confirmed 4th Spider-Man film in production. Not with Tom Holland, not with anyone. And during a recent panel, Holland himself admitted, I think we're just trying to figure out the right story, but nothing's official. Let's translate that. Marvel doesn't even have a locked plan for its #1 cash cow. Think about that. You're sitting on the most universally beloved character in your entire catalog, and you still don't know what to do with him? That's not oversight. That's institutional collapse. So, where is Marvel's leadership in all this? Kevin Feige, once the architect of the most successful cinematic universe ever built, has been eerily quiet. Aside from a few vague mentions at Disney events, Feige has avoided speaking directly about the Jonathan Majors collapse, the Blade disaster, the delays to Fantastic Four and X-Men, the internal pushback from actors. And while Feige's silence is deafening, it's Disney's moves behind the scenes that say more. Here's what insiders and former Disney execs have started leaking. They're already drawing up contingency plans for Marvel. There's talk of scaling back theatrical releases to 1 per year, maybe even less. They're shifting resources away from Marvel Studios and toward live-action remakes and Pixar relaunches. That's not restructuring, that's preparing the lifeboats. And here's where it gets brutal. Marvel was once Disney's crown jewel. From 2012 to 2019, Marvel was responsible for over $20 billion in box office revenue. Now, in 2023, Marvel released more content than ever, and for the first time since Phase 1, no film broke $1 billion. Even the Marvels, meant to lead the next generation of Avengers, became the lowest-grossing MCU film ever released. Let that sink in. They gave the film a budget of $250 million, spent nearly $150 million on marketing, and it flopped, harder than the first Thor movie. Internal reports say Disney considers the Marvels a write-off. That's a polite way of saying they've stopped caring. But the fans, they care, just not in the way Marvel hopes. Reddit posts now routinely hit the front page titled things like, remember when Marvel trailers made you feel something? Why did Phase 4 kill my interest? Is anyone else just tired? YouTube is flooded with video essays like, the MCU is dead, here's why. I grew up loving Marvel, and I'm out. Secret Invasion was the last straw. Even the once hyped fan theory communities have turned cynical. Our Marvel theories used to average 30-40 daily threads. Now, they're lucky to get 5, and most are jokes. Here's what we're seeing unfold, a cultural rejection. This isn't just about movies that don't make money. It's about a fan base that no longer trusts the brand, a studio that no longer respects the process, and actors who no longer care to pretend. Because behind the trailers and merch and logo reveals, Marvel forgot something critical. They weren't selling superheroes, they were selling stories. And when those stories stopped mattering, when they became soulless setups for unconfirmed sequels, the magic died. Even inside Disney, that panic is now openly acknowledged. A recent earnings call featured Bob Iger himself admitting, we believe we oversaturated the market with Marvel content. We need to be more selective. More selective? It's too late. They already drowned the audience in half-baked Disney Plus shows contradictory cameos, and meaningless multiverse bait. And now they want to pull back? You don't walk back apathy, you just bury it. So what now? Marvel's future looks like this. A delayed Fantastic Four that's already lost multiple directors. An X-Men reboot that hasn't even started casting. A Spider-Man future clouded in rights negotiations with Sony. A flagship film, Secret Wars, with no script, no momentum, and no loyalty from its actors. And in the shadows, Disney is cutting costs, pulling shows, restructuring pipelines, silencing leaks, but they can't silence the feeling anymore because the fans are done hoping. The actors are done playing, and the world is done pretending. Marvel Studios built the largest pop culture phenomenon of the 21st century, and now it's watching it unravel. One leak, one quit, one silence at a time. The studio won't say it out loud, but its stars already have. So here we are, the end. Not of the MCU's timeline, not of the multiverse, but of something bigger, the end of belief. For over a decade, Marvel Studios was the one constant in Hollywood chaos. Reliable, consistent, familiar. It was the house of heroes, a place where stories felt earned, where character arcs actually meant something, and where fans could trust that their time, money, and emotion weren't being wasted. And now, that trust is gone. So when you see the next teaser, when you hear the buzz about a new Avenger, when Marvel tries to whisper, "We're back," ask yourself, do you still believe them? Because the stars don't, the fans don't. And maybe, deep down, neither does Marvel. Found this information exciting and unbelievable? Be sure to check out other similar and amazing videos on the screen. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Only half to Jeremy because I got ran over? Maybe that's why you want to pay me half?
That one line had fans cheering and Disney scrambling. Jeremy Renner clapped back hard after Disney allegedly tried to lowball him for Hawkeye Season 2, offering only half his original salary after a near-fatal accident that left him with 38 broken bones. And he didn't stop there. He said a whole lot more. Let's break it down. A savage sentence that shook Disney. Did you think I'm only half the Jeremy because I got ran over? With this single scathing question, Jeremy Renner Hawkeye to millions of Marvel fans worldwide delivered what many are calling a devastating blow to Disney, highlighting the callousness of one of the world's largest entertainment companies. In a shocking revelation during a May 2025 interview on the High Performance podcast, Renner disclosed that Disney had offered him half his original salary to reprise his role as Hawkeye for any Plus series. What makes this offer particularly egregious is the timing. It came after Renner's near-fatal snowplow accident in January 2023, an event that left him with over 30 broken bones and a grueling recovery process. The implication behind Disney's offer seemed clear to Renner. His value had somehow diminished because of his...
Why? Did you think I'm only half to Jeremy because I got ran over? Maybe that's why you want to pay me half of what I made in the first season? I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, go fly a kite.
The power of Renner's response lies not only in its directness, but in what it represents. A man who faced death, endured an excruciating recovery, and emerged with an unwavering sense of his worth. This wasn't just about money. It was about respect and recognition for an actor who has given over a decade of his career to building the Marvel Cinematic Universe as one of the original 6 Avengers. Renner emphasized that he wasn't seeking a raise, merely the same compensation he had received for the first season. I didn't ask for any more money, mind you, right? It's just pay me what I made the first season, he explained, highlighting the reasonableness of his position. The offer was particularly insulting, considering that the second season would require twice the amount of work and an 8-month commitment, all for half the pay.
I'm not going to go torture my body and risk permanent damage somewhere. If we're especially for half the money, it's going to, no. And more importantly, it's for my time.
Critically, Renner made a distinction between Disney's financial team and Marvel Studios in his criticism. This is not Marvel, mind you. This is like just Disney, not even really Disney. It's just the penny pinchers, the accountants, he stated, suggesting a disconnect between the creative and financial sides of the company. Disney has reportedly disputed Renner's claims, but without providing specific details about the negotiations. This lack of a detailed rebuttal has left room for speculation about the true nature of the offer and the reasoning behind it. The fallout from Renner's revelation has been significant. Fans have rallied behind the actor, with social media platforms buzzing with disappointment directed at Disney. Many have criticized the studio for undervaluing an original Avenger, particularly one who had recently survived a life-threatening accident. Comments highlighting sentiments like, "It's sad to see an OG Avenger treated like this," have been common, reflecting fans' loyalty to Renner and his portrayal of Hawkeye. industry observers have noted that Marvel is attempting to reduce costs, which may be part of a larger trend in the entertainment industry, especially for streaming content. However, this cost-cutting approach has raised questions about the future of Hawkeye without its original lead and the potential impact on the broader MCU. Despite declining the current offer, Renner has expressed that he would be open to reprising the role if offered fair compensation. I still love the character, I still love to do it, but I had to defend myself, he explained, indicating that the door is not entirely closed for his return to the MCU.
No, I still love the character, I still love to do it, but I had to defend myself. Do I have a right to say what, why? And I don't care what's happening over there in your accounting department.
To fully appreciate the weight of Renner's savage sentence and why it resonated so powerfully, we need to understand the harrowing journey that brought him to this point, a near-death experience that forever changed his perspective on life, career, and personal growth. The accident that changed everything. January 1st, 2023. Started as a typical New Year's Day for Jeremy Renner at his home near Lake Tahoe, Nevada. After days of heavy snowfall that Renner described as Snowmageddon, he was attempting to clear his driveway with his Piston Bully Snowcat, a 14,000-pound commercial vehicle typically used to groom ski slopes.
The settings of Lake Tahoe, and it's New Year's, and we always have my family in New Year's, and we were snowed in for a few days. Sort of Armageddon, Snowmageddon, we called it, type of thing. So we had no power, no electricity, nothing. And we were having a great time. It's New Year's Day, it was going to be sunny, so I had to clear the driveway so we could get out and get some fresh air and that type of thing.
What happened next would change his life forever. While helping his nephew Alex move vehicles that were stuck in the snow, the snowcat began sliding on the icy slope toward his nephew. In an attempt to warn him, Renner stepped out of the cab. When the machine continued sliding, he made a split-second decision to try to re-enter the vehicle to stop it. In this heroic but devastating moment, Renner was caught under the massive machine, which rolled over him like a tank over a log. The damage to his body was catastrophic. He broke over 30 bones, including 8 ribs broken in 14 places, a shattered right knee, broken jaw, clavicle, and orbital bone fractures. His skull cracked open, his eyeball came out, and he couldn't breathe properly due to his collapsed lung. Perhaps most remarkably, Renner remained conscious throughout the entire ordeal, fighting for each breath as he waited 45 minutes on the ice for emergency help to arrive. During this time, he made the conscious decision to focus solely on breathing, putting aside the shocking sight of his injuries. I saw my eye, I'll worry about that later. I saw my twisted legs, I'll worry about that later, he recalled thinking in those critical moments. To survive, Renner relied on breathing techniques he had learned as a child when he accompanied his mother to Lamaze classes at the age of 11 or 12. These techniques, designed to help manage pain during childbirth, became crucial to his survival as he struggled with a collapsed lung and crushed ribcage. The severity of his condition was so extreme that Renner actually died briefly during the wait for help. The physical exertion of trying to breathe eventually exhausted him, and he momentarily lost consciousness before being revived. And then came back, and I was pissed about it. I saw my eyeball again, oh my god, because it was so great. I'm like, oh, it's so great. I was having such a good time because I was going because I did sort of regulate breathing, and then it just started to slow. The heart rate started a little slow. After being airlifted from the scene, Renner spent time in the intensive care unit, ICU, receiving critical care. His recovery involved reconstructive surgeries, including metal plates in his ribcage and eye socket, and a titanium rod in his left shin. He was released from the hospital on January 17, 2023, and by March, he had regained enough strength to walk with a cane. The road to recovery was grueling and required immense determination. Renner set milestones for himself, often centered around his daughter Ava, such as being able to stand at her birthday party in March. These goals gave him purpose and helped him maintain a positive mindset during the most challenging moments of his recovery. A significant motivator in Renner's recovery was his desire to heal his family, particularly his daughter and nephew, who were deeply affected by the accident. He felt that by getting better, he could alleviate their suffering and worry. These aren't characteristics that I typically do, and I felt terrible by it, and I knew I did do it. I forgave myself, and they're obviously not thinking like you ruined New Year's. You know, it's just something that was in my body. By 2024, Renner had made remarkable progress and returned to filming Mayor of Kingstown for its 3rd season, despite the physical challenges. His recovery journey became public as he shared updates on social media, showing his progress in physical therapy and his gradual return to mobility. The accident profoundly transformed Renner's outlook on life and career. In interviews, he has spoken about gaining a new perspective, focusing on simplicity, gratitude, and what truly matters. This shift in perspective has extended to his professional choices, with Renner becoming more selective about the projects he takes on and how they align with his values and well-being. So, one of the giant takeaways from the book, or me writing the book, was just cementing the idea that my oversimplification of life is how I live my life to recover. And I'm not changing it because life is just that simple. I am not going to overcomplicate it anymore. Even with his recovery progressing well, Renner continues to face physical challenges. He has explained that every joint is an issue and that he has numerous foreign objects in his body, leading to ongoing problems with inflammation. Despite these challenges, Renner maintains a positive attitude, focusing on his blessings rather than his limitations. When asked if he would trade his current self for the version of Jeremy Renner before the accident, he firmly declined, highlighting the profound personal growth he has experienced through his ordeal. The publication of his memoir, My Next Breath, on April 29, 2025, marks another significant step in Renner's journey. The book, which details his accident and recovery, offers insights into the experiences that have shaped his current perspective and priorities. It was against this backdrop of extraordinary recovery and newfound perspective that Disney approached Renner with their insult offer for Hawkeye Season 2. To fully understand the significance of this lowballed salary offer and Renner's powerful response, we need to appreciate the journey that brought him to the MCU in the first place, a career built on perseverance, talent, and resilience. From struggling actor to Avenger to advocate, Jeremy Renner's path to stardom wasn't an overnight success story, but rather a testament to persistence over nearly 2 decades. Born in 1971 in Modesto, California, Renner grew up in a modest, blue-collar family. After discovering his passion for acting in a drama class at Modesto Junior College, he moved to Hollywood to pursue his dream. His acting career began in 1995 with a minor role in National Lampoon's Senior Trip. The early years were marked by financial struggles and uncertainty, with Renner taking on various jobs including makeup artistry, sales, and even working as a river guide to support himself while building his acting resume through guest appearances on television shows. The early 2000s saw Renner gain traction with roles in independent films. A significant breakthrough came in 2002 when he portrayed serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer in the film Dahmer, earning a nomination for Best Lead Male at the Independent Spirit Awards. This performance showcased his versatility and talent, catching the attention of industry insiders. The true turning point in Renner's career came in 2009 with his role as Staff Sergeant William James in The Hurt Locker. Directed by Catherine Bigelow, the film was critically acclaimed, and Renner's performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. The following year, his role in The Town earned him a second Academy Award nomination, this time for Best Supporting Actor. His inclusion in the Hollywood Reporter's list of Hollywood's new A-list in 2010 marked his transition from a struggling actor to a recognized star. After nearly 15 years in the industry, Renner was finally receiving widespread recognition for his acting prowess. The next phase of Renner's career would be defined by his entry into major franchises, beginning with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After a cameo as Hawkeye in Thor 2011, Renner took on the role in full capacity in The Avengers 2012. This marked the beginning of his journey as one of the original 6 Avengers, a role that would significantly raise his global profile. Simultaneously, Renner established himself in other major franchises, appearing in Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol 2011, and taking on the lead role in The Bourne Legacy 2012. His performance in American Hustle 2013 further solidified his reputation, winning a Screen Actors Guild Award for outstanding performance by a cast. In 2013, Renner became a father to daughter Ava Berlin, an event he described as transformative. In a 2014 interview with Today, he stated, "Now I know what real love is. Best thing that I've experienced in my life," highlighting how fatherhood had given him a new perspective. As Renner's career flourished, he balanced his involvement in blockbuster franchises with more character-driven roles. His portrayal of Hawkeye evolved through appearances in Avengers: Age of Ultron 2015, Captain America: Civil War 2016, and Avengers: Endgame 2019, culminating in the Disney Plus series Hawkeye in 2021, where he co-starred with Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. This series allowed for a deeper exploration of Clint Barton's character, showcasing Renner's range as an actor within the superhero genre. Hawkeye received positive reviews, earning a 92% positive score on Rotten Tomatoes and an 88% audience score, and was a success in streaming ratings. Despite his success, Renner's career has not been without controversies. In 2015, during the press tour for Avengers: Age of Ultron, Renner, alongside Chris Evans, referred to Scarlett Johansson's character Black Widow as a slut in response to fan questions about character relationships. This led to significant backlash, with both actors issuing apologies, though Renner later doubled down on the comments in an appearance on Conan. In 2016, during a Quanda, Renner admitted that he had wanted Hawkeye to die in the first Avengers film, stating, "I was just getting to know who Hawkeye was, and then zap. I go round like a zombie. I'm like Loki's minion." This suggested a degree of creative frustration with his role early on. Renner's personal life has also faced public scrutiny, particularly during his custody battle with ex-wife Sonny Pacheco over their daughter. In 2019, Pacheco alleged that Renner had threatened to kill her and himself, claims that Renner denied. The following year, he accused Pacheco of misusing funds from their daughter's trust fund, adding another public dimension to their dispute. Through these professional and personal challenges, Renner maintained his status as a respected actor. Then came the snowplow accident in 2023, which could have ended his career, but instead became a profound turning point in both his personal life and professional approach. The accident and subsequent recovery gave Renner a new perspective on fame. In interviews, he has noted that people now see him differently, recognizing him for his resilience rather than just his roles. This shift has made public interactions more genuine and less focused on his celebrity status. His recovery journey has also changed how he approaches his career. Renner has become more intentional with his time and energy, prioritizing projects that align with his values and allow him to maintain his health and spend time with his family. This intentionality extends to his work on Mayor of Kingstown, which he approached not just as a job, but as part of his recovery journey. Rather than viewing filming as taking time away from his personal life, he integrated it into his healing process. It was with this evolved perspective that Renner faced Disney's offer for Hawkeye Season 2. The reduced salary proposal wasn't just a business negotiation, it was a valuation of his worth that felt at odds with his journey and contributions. His savage sentence questioning whether Disney thought he was only half the Jeremy because of his accident cut to the heart of this disconnect. In many ways, this controversy exemplifies the complexities of navigating a career in Hollywood, where artistic passion, financial considerations, physical demands, and personal values often intersect in challenging ways. Renner's response to Disney's offer provides a glimpse into how these complexities are magnified when an individual has experienced a life-altering trauma. The impact of Renner's stance extends beyond his individual situation, potentially influencing how other actors approach negotiations with major studios. By publicly discussing what he perceived as an insult offer, Renner has drawn attention to the power dynamics between talent and studios, particularly when it comes to compensation for streaming content. This dispute comes at a time when the entertainment industry is undergoing significant changes, with streaming platforms altering traditional compensation models and studios reassessing budgets in response to evolving audience habits. As reported by Business Insider, these shifts have led to tensions between talent and studios, as evidenced by Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit against Disney over the simultaneous release of Black Widow on Disney Plus and in theaters. For fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the dispute raises questions about the future of Hawkeye as a character. While Renner has expressed willingness to return to the role under the right conditions, the current impasse suggests that we may not see him donning the bow and arrow again in the near future. This uncertainty extends to other potential MCU projects that might have included Hawkeye, such as the upcoming Avengers Doomsday, set for release in May 2026. Beyond the immediate implications for Renner's career and Hawkeye as a series, this controversy has sparked discussions about the value placed on experience, talent, and recovery in Hollywood. The suggestion that an actor's worth might be diminished due to injuries sustained in a life-threatening accident has struck a chord with many, highlighting concerns about ageism, ableism, and respect for performers who have given years to building franchises. The power of Renner's savage sentence lies not just in its criticism of Disney's offer, but in what it represents. The man who faced death, fought through an excruciating recovery, and emerged with a clearer sense of his worth and values. His refusal to accept what he perceived as an undervaluation of his contributions and capacity speaks to broader themes of self-respect, resilience, and the courage to stand up for oneself in the face of powerful institutions. Ultimately, whether or not Renner returns as Hawkeye, his impact on the character and the MCU is undeniable. His portrayal of Clint Barton has contributed significantly to the success of the Avengers franchise and resonated with audiences worldwide. The dispute with Disney, while potentially closing a chapter in his Marvel journey, is just one part of a career and life story defined by perseverance, talent, and an unwavering commitment to personal integrity. The savage sentence that ended Disney represents a profound affirmation of self-worth from an actor who has literally fought his way back from the brink of death. In standing up for himself, Renner has perhaps inspired others to recognize and assert their own value, both within the entertainment industry and beyond. If you love this video, click on the card showing